Auri O'Neill, are you ready to traverse the gloom?
Mike, how will I find my way?
Hey, that's right. Well, we're gonna. God, and just yeah.
End the video right
I was
away.
gonna say yeah. Had to go for that low-hanging one there, because this is. Because this is Wayfinder. That's the name of this video game we are playing today.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed. This is another game. It's in the kind of MMO-lite live service kind of space. It just came out somewhat recently. It's in early access. And I want to put a big asterisk emphasize on early access for the game, because as much as I've been enjoying a lot of it so far, there's definitely I think some kind of jank here still a little bit, and there's still like I'd say there's a decent amount of content even for an access game, but I think it's just they're working through a lot of stuff. Like the game came out and unfortunately had like some major like server connection issues for like almost like the full first week of the game. So I definitely would have liked to have been a little bit further into the game from where I'm at now. But even so, like it's still some stuff worth showing off.
You're level 21. I feel like that's substantial.
I'm level 21, but I still have like some story quests, because like the story quest like opens up a lot of stuff in the game so far, and there's still a couple things I haven't opened up I would have liked to have been able to show off, but still plenty to show off. Before we get too deep in the weeds, because like, again, it's a live service games, there's a lot of systems and like it's not free to play yet, but it will be a free to play game once it is fully launched, and I'll get more into what that means exactly. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'd say from a gameplay perspective, like how I would kind of give like a quick elevator pitch if I were to like compare it to some other games. The first one I see people throwing a lot of is Warframe. Which I have not played Warframe, so that's a big one though, because it is character based and like weapon based, and like the whole kind of thing is you are crafting weapons and characters to get them, and like in like Warframe, because it's also a free to play game, you can just outright buy the characters or weapons if you want to just skip the grinding or leveling. But if you're willing to, you can unlock every character or grind out any weapon that's in the game currently just by playing the game. I'll say is I have the sword and shield I have on right now. I'll go to my character menu here. This Radiant Dawn sword and shield I already did grind out for. And then the character I'm playing as is named Wingrave. He is one of the starting characters. I have unfortunately not been able to unlock any of the other characters yet. I could
play like a character. You don't.
Yes,
make your own
correct. So you can see I can kind of show off them loosely. Some of them here. You can see here's Wingrave. He has like his own set of skills and like passive skills. And then obviously here's like another character, Silo, and he's kind of like a gunsman. He can kind of do different abilities, and he has abilities that are tied to them specifically. Like all these characters have like unique skills that you are like upgrading and leveling them to. The weapons
champions.
They are indeed champions for sure. The weapons themselves also have their own kind of things tied to them, like there's a bunch of different swords and shields. I can see here's kind of like the basic starting one, and that has like stats, and you can see it has its own level, and then it has its own unique skill. This Radiant Dawn sword I now have also has its own level that I'm now starting to level up again, and also has its own unique skill that you can like activate in combat and stuff. Cool. So all the weapons are different in that way. Like there's swords and shields. There's big like two-handed swords and a scythe, and there's guns, and then there's daggers. Those are kind of the current set of weapons, and all of them play differently. And then on top of that, each like there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of daggers, and each of them have like a unique skill they can activate. So that's kind of how they're set up.
And any character can use any weapon? Yes,
any character can use any weapon. If they kind of there's like a whole system involved in that. I think it's like mastery where you can see like I've already done a bunch of sword and shield stuff, and I've like leveled up stuff in sword and shield that like kind of can activate individual skills. But if I start using, see here's executioner melee, which is like your big swords and your scythes and axes and stuff.
Two-handers and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's twin striker melee and marksman. So like they have like their own like mastery skills and things already that you can start building towards. There's affinity, which is also like, you know, you can tie it to like your specific characters. Again, all kinds of stuff they can go into. Like echoes is a whole other system I'll get into.
Woo!
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. It's one of these. It's a live service kind of MMO-lite game. There's tons of that kind of stuff. On top of kind of like the some
like
of the
30 skill trees.
sort of kinda. But yeah, there's definitely tons of stuff there already, and like again, this is just early access, so they already have like a pretty loose roadmap, I would say, of stuff that's going to come now between early access in this early access period and in the full launch. They've kind of given rough estimates of all the stuff because the game will be like a season-based game, so it'll be like every 3 months. There'll be a new season, and at the launch of a new season, there will be a new Wayfinder and a new weapon that comes with them that you can acquire and unlock. There will also be like other things like new, like, you know, done like these things which we'll get into, which are like the lost zones and the hunts are kind of your two big things here. There'll be like new stuff like that, and then also there's it'll be free to play game, so there's monetary things. So there's a battle pass equivalent in this game that I can show off soon. But I just want to get into like the actual game here. So the big thing is there are things called lost zones, and there's things called hunts. Hunts are basically like you straight up just go fight a big boss or like enemy encounter. And like that is like that, and you just go do that, and then that boss will have like unique rewards that it drops. Mainly, it's like in this game that again the big thing is like you are more going about getting crafting materials to make things rather than like getting like drops in and of themselves. So you're more so it's more so like looking for like, oh, to craft this sword I need like this material and like this particular item to go craft and make this sword from that one of the shopkeeps. So now I need to go like fight this boss and get those drops.
Got it.
And so similarly to like these, there's also then lost zones. Lost zones or expeditions, they're also labeled here. Are like they're randomized dungeons, so like they're kind of like these like kind of more like tile set randomized kind of dungeons you'll run through. I'll just pick this one because that's the one I'm working on. They have difficulty tiers, so you can see, and then obviously you have a character power level. So you can see sphere 3 is the highest difficulty I have at the moment, but I'm a little bit under leveled. So I'll just do 2 for now. So that's that. So that'll pick that like difficulty sphere, and then like the difficulty sphere like doesn't dictate how much stuff drops, or the other way around. It does, anything that you need can drop from any difficulty, but the higher difficulty will drop more of those materials compared to lower tiers. Is kind of how it's split up. Another big thing on top of that is imbuements. These basically let you kind of customize sort of like an additional difficulty kind of thing. You can see I have a bunch of things here like solar imbuements or chaos imbuements and agreed imbuement, and these all will like basically put like a weird sort of modifier on them. Like I'll go ahead and do a chaos one. So you can see trickster is the mutator, and it says it hides within, and will show you gifts, put in quotation marks, while you visit. So you'll see what that all means. So I'll just go ahead and matchmake. This will potentially put me with randoms. Sometimes I don't always get randoms, and sometimes, but also you can just turn off matchmaking as well, and just go in solo if you want to any of this stuff that you put in. We'll see if we get any randoms with us here. I get I get more randoms, I would say, doing like the hunts themselves, because like at least at the moment it seems like the hunts are big on like how you like where a lot of the materials are for crafting weapons so far. It's like that's definitely been a lot of the drops. Like to get this sword and shield, I definitely went and fought one of the bosses in particular a bunch of times to get the drops I needed.
Okay.
So another quick tip for people is if you have a bunch of imbuements like me, you can drop in this thing, and I can go solar imbuement and give it to that. Now I have a max HP buff for my run.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
I appreciate that it's not just like, hey, make everything harder for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I do want to say,
Yeah, go ahead.
and Mike, I genuinely think that you are doing a very good job explaining things and getting to the point here.
It's a lot, right?
It's so fucking much right now.
Yep. Yeah, and again, it's always like the tricky thing with like covering one of these games, right? Because it's like there's just a ton of stuff going on in these kinds of games. And there's still plenty I haven't covered.
I'm sure. I can already tell that there's like way more going on. Too.
I will say though, granted, again, we have to talk about it as the Destiny people who have a Destiny podcast.
I was gonna bring it up
familiar,
as well. So
familiar with that. I will say the onboarding for this game actually is pretty decent. It takes its time. Like it might be slow for some people if you are pretty much I would say intimately familiar with like a game like Warframe, because that's definitely the big one to call out. But I will say for me, going through some of the initial things of just like, they give you quests that are like, hey, go do this dungeon and put an imbuement on it to see what that does. Hey, go do this and see what this does. Like it. Okay.
I like that.
It ramps you up in a way that like is not like, it doesn't just kind of throw. It kind of throws one system at you to just understand, and then another quest will do it, and so on and so forth. It doesn't just kind of throw you in the deep end with some of this stuff. And there's also like for every menu you can go into, there is like you can just hit a button and it'll be like, here's the tutorial for like how this works, and it'll show you like a little like kind of menu option to like kind of explain like, oh, here's how this echo menus works, and here's how this works, kind of thing. So like I will say like at least for so far the game does like a decent job of explaining some things so far.
That's good. I was gonna joke too because you were like, I wish I had gotten further in the game. Like, you're level 21. What is this? One of those games where it doesn't start until you hit max level? It seems totally is that
yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. As you can see, I've kind of started here. You can see like this is what the modifier is doing. By the way, that I put on the chaos one. You can see
that's what I thought.
The bombs. The bombs. Like when you open chests, it'll make a bomb. Sometimes they'll just, so you can see they just randomly appear like this all over here. They like activate other things too. Like there is a character called the Trickster that can like spawn in areas of the areas, and he'll like have like a little like randomized, like you have to get Trickster keys, and you can take the keys to him to then like get like a random chance at chests that he has, and it'll be like a little like 3-cup, like you're spinning, you have to choose at random to see if you get rewards out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, 80s style. I
yes, yeah, like there's tons of like roguelite elements in this game a little bit too, which I have been appreciating so far. Let me pull up the map, see where we're going. Okay, we have to go back up this walkway.
Is this a rando? I didn't ask earlier.
Yeah, that's just some random person. I think he's like kind of following me.
Yeah, he's like, all right, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you see a level 21 guy. Yeah, I'm following this guy. Yeah, that's fair. I've actually funny enough had that a couple times. So let me grab that.
Would you call it like a guided game situation?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, there is something in this game that is like an equivalent to that.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like I don't know how, like if it just does it by default or you'd have to like kind of sign into it. But like I've seen like people refer to like these things called helper coins that you get for like helping people. And I think, again, early access, like, there's definitely some things where it's like they kind of have like 1.0 system in place to then eventually expand upon it in like future and updates and stuff.
Now, I'm going to ask you the tough question here, Mike.
Yes.
Because we talked off mic about a little bit of how the launch went for this, and when we were like prepping to do the viewpoints. And
yeah.
And when we started, you listed off all those things that are going to come out every season. Do you think that's actually going to be how it happens?
That's definitely a big question. I will say, since the servers have been figured out, they kind of figured out their server issue. There's been like some minor things, but it's not been like it's since then I've had minimal issues like getting into the game and just like playing. So like I definitely could foresee like some things being pushed a little bit depending on general reception and where they go. Like I think they're definitely still kind of feeling that stuff out. I will say, like, again, I can't get too deep into it because that's something I don't think I ever mentioned to you, but like a few months back I got invited to like do like a kind of closed beta thing. It's under NDA, so I can't get like super into details even though like the game's out, so it's a little weird, but whatever. I signed the thing, so that is what it is. But like to give like a baseline, like having done that experience, like the developers have been pretty good about like taking feedback and incorporating things that were even in those betas from like 2-3 months ago is already into the game, like has already seen happen. So like I think they maybe, so I'm hoping they have like kind of figured it out. Yeah, to call out again, the developers. The main developers are Airship Syndicate, so they are like former Darksiders people. So you can probably already kind of see that influence from the visuals of this game, right?
Yes, totally.
Like that's
that makes so much sense.
Right, exactly. So there's that. The publishers are Digital Extreme. So again, the Warframe connections.
Look at that treasure chest, also.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick chest.
Darksiders chest.
Yeah, it's like there's tons of that. Like you can see some of the characters and. There's like a big flaming sword that's like right out of Darksiders. Here's actually the trickster thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
So you try your luck, you just need a key. So for that, so I'll give him a key. All right, let's see. I'll open one of these. I like his little animation. He's like, ready?
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready? Okay. I didn't get, that was not it. I think I have another one. So let me try again.
Oh, and he shovels and adds a third.
Yeah, so you can just kind of keep doing this as long as you have keys is the thing. So let's see. I'll try one more time. Like this guy's also just like waiting for me. Okay, there we go. So I got there we go. I got a trickster coin out of that. So that's nice. Those are useful because that is like a crafting option. Okay, so that is where we're going next. That's
crafting. Oh boy.
Yeah, a lot of crafting in this game.
Oh no.
Yep. So there's that. Let me just grab all the extra little doodads here. Let's see, is there anything else? Looking from the map, I think I've kind of filled out everything. Yeah, so let's just keep going. So here's like a little quick event here. Just kill some dudes.
Horde mode activate.
So yeah, I'll get some combat stuff. There's each character has like 4 moves. Windgrave here is like kind of your. I will say like from I've not played again. I've really only played mainly Windgrave so far. I've not played any of the characters, but looking into it, it's like it seems like they're not trying to go for the like typical MMO like here's your healer DPS. Like heavy person or whatever, it's not like the Holy Trinity. So like the characters I've kind of seen like Windgrave, for instance, he's more of like a tank hybrid where like a lot of his moves heal himself but also can heal other allies. So like he's kind of like you're almost like kind of like one of the more main healers in the game at the moment, which is like an interesting like conceit where he's like you kind of are playing tank. But also trying to like heal and like support your teammates at the same time. There is another character who she is in the her name's Venomous, and she's in the battle pass. She's like the character you can get from like leveling up the battle pass essentially. She has some healing stuff going on as well, but I've not really played too much of her, so I'm not sure how that all works. I just know she like poisons, and she can like poison people and like drain the poison out of enemies to like heal stuff or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, Windgrave, see, I put the shield up. It kind of basically it when I put it up, it has like a little shockwave that damages enemies in front of it, but also if projectiles and blasts are shot into it, it like absorbs them. Once I upgrade it some more, it'll be a thing where once I use it, if allies are standing behind me, it heals them as they're standing behind it. This big sword swipe heals on hit, so I can see I hit them. I get some health back. He has like like the classic like I can taunt an enemy. And now he's taunted. And while I can grab aggro with that. I have it now, so when the enemies or allies hit the enemy that's I've taunted, it lets them get healed while they're attacking them. That's pretty cool, right? And then they all have like supers, so I'll just go ahead and do this to show it off. But I just make a big ass bubble shield, and everybody gets healed while we're in this. So
that's familiar territory.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're about to take out this enemy. But yeah, we got that guy. The other thing is expedition incomplete. Yeah, so they're pretty breezy, I would say. But you can also take your time because again they are randomized. So like a lot of
progress at the top.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's like kind of like the that's your progress for getting like the rewards at the end. You can lose stuff if you die too much, because you can like your teammates can go down and you can like pick them back up. But if you're all taken out, then it'll kind of respawn you. You don't have to do the whole thing over. It'll just kind of like put you like kind of a little bit back from where you last were. And then if you all go down, that like meter will go down and you'll lose out on some of those reward chests you'll get for like completing it. So it definitely behooves you to kind of play your life to an extent. But yeah, that like you just get like a bunch of general like rewards, like there's all kind, it's again a lot of crafting stuff, which I guess I can show off. It's
time to get to it.
Time to get it. Time to get into it, because like there's stuff that's like for upgrading, so you can see like I'll go into abilities I just unlock from like leveling up. Like once you just level up your character, you get all 4 of your abilities unlocked by like I think like level 9 or 10, and then post that now you can see I'm starting to get them like higher tier. So you can see, like I said, like I have this Radiant Pulse ability, so I've upgraded, so it sends out thing, and then as you see the last one, it slowly heals allies when they stand behind it. I can upgrade this to do more damage and give me more heals.
The taunt will reduce their damage, it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. And then the bubble shield as well, extend the duration, like that kind of stuff. So there's tons of like big stuff with that. He has like passive stuff. Like thing I didn't really talk about was like when you finish like a melee combo, it'll heal you and allies near you when you do like a full combo.
Cool.
Affinity, like this stuff is just like you can see it just bumps up different stats. So it seems like that'll be like a later thing where it is like, hey, this character is good at these kind of things. So I probably want to like for Wingrave, here's like this one does resilience, max health, abilities, and physical defense. So I probably want to spec more into that for Wingrave because he's more about like physical defense, so stuff like that,
And this is the weapon.
The weapon is similar where like it has each like the characters themselves. And the weapons have their own levels, so you can see my Radiant Dawn is level 8. So you can see I can like put stuff into that, and that'll go into stats and my like overall power level as it was, because I can see my power rating as there. So there's that. Echoes. I'll get into this. This looks more daunting than it actually is, because this actually isn't like a skill tree. I know it does look kind of like one.
Yeah.
It's more like putting in mods for your characters and your weapons. That's more what it is. So basically, when I defeat enemies, any enemies in the game, it could be like bosses, just like the minor stuff I was fighting in there. They drop these echoes. Depending on the difficulty tiers you're fighting them on, they will drop at higher rarities and give different bonuses. So you can see like here, the ones I have in are just more like, hey, this increases my weapon power, and they're just kind of bumping my stats. But you can see once I go in the menu here, there's a ton of these, because like I said, they can drop from anywhere. Some of the higher level ones, which I have gotten, but I can't really like slot in just yet, because I don't have the capacity for it. But here's one that I got from one of the bosses where it straight up just gives me like extra ability. Like when I do a melee combo finisher, I can get a large blast of physical damage, and it equals out to my weapon power. So like there's like definitely that's kind of where your like build stuff comes in, of like, all right, I want to build into these stats because I have abilities that do this with my echoes, or like my weapons into themselves, because of how the characters work, right? So that's kind of how that stuff works.
Lets you shift a character in a specific direction, which I like.
Exactly, yeah. And then you have like artifacts or like I don't know if they're called artifacts, but they're more like general equipment. And these also have like their own accessories. Yeah, these have their own stats, but they can also be slotted with echoes as well. So that'll kind of give you power and certain stats. So I'm sure there'll be a bunch of those that I'll start getting as well. Other than that, like, you know,
there's skins.
There is skins. I only have kind of the starting thing for Wingrave, but you can see I like that it has like individual pieces too.
Oh yeah.
So like there's both, because I can go to the shop in a second too, where it'll be like there's a persona which is like a full set that it like kind of goes together. But then there's also some that are just like, you can see I can throw this helmet on Wingrave if I want, or I can put no helmet, or if I get other shoulder pads, I can kind of mix and match and make my own look more so. Obviously, character dyes. You can see I have my black, but you can see there's primary colors for the armor, but then you can do like, you know, secondary stuff. Like I can change kind of the robes, like the robes, the lights on them and stuff. And the trim is kind of like the gold, like the little gold trim I have on them now. So bunch of customization options. And here, there's even loading art, which I've seen in the Battle Pass, which I think is interesting.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Emotes, of course, the ones I have are pretty basic.
Of course.
So, you know, starting stuff, skins for individual weapon types, like little trinkets and charms you can put on. All that stuff is there. You know, all that fun stuff. So let's see. What else can we go to? Yeah, I'll go to here's the reward tower. We'll go over this. The reward tower is essentially their battle pass. They're set up a little bit differently than a lot of games are, in a cool, and I think a way that's actually kind of cool. Something I also think is really neat, and I want to shout out is once you purchase a battle pass in a season of this game, you own it permanently. It's not a like, oh, the end of the season in a couple months. The season ends, and if you have not gotten the rewards on this battle pass, it's just gone. You're not going to get that stuff. You just you will just have the battle pass, and essentially how they described it is like you essentially get to choose like what battle pass you're like working on. So it's like, oh, this Gloom Break, which is season 1, I can like, if I were to have this later and not finished in like season 3 or 4, whatever, as long as I bought it, I could like select this as my current one or whatever, and like start working towards rewards in it. So I think that's just cool, because like obviously not a lot of games do that.
Yes.
and I appreciate that. So you know, once you buy it, you have it. It's cool. How this works is basically, you can see I'm gaining like just XP from just doing general stuff. I've noticed that like side quests give better experience in the game so far compared to just like some general stuff. We'll see if that changes at all as I get later in. But once you get that, you get a key, and then you essentially can choose. You can see like there's paths. Like I could have already have gone through a lot of this tier, but when I started it, I just worked right towards like getting this like cool skin for my guns that I get. So I have this cool like energy like skin for my gun. You can see once I go to this page 2, similar thing.
4-2, wow.
Yeah, so once you kind of like, you know, you can kind of branch in directions. So there's a bunch of stuff. You know, see there's like essentially like a shader kind of equivalent, like, or a die as they call it in this game. Again, Destiny gonna call things a shader. Here's one of the like loading menu preview loading arts. That's pretty cool. That's one of the NIS. That's one of the characters.
Cool.
And then there's like, where's one of the things? This is like the memory of Ven's Guile. So this is like one of the crafting components to summon Venomous. So these are like throughout the battle pass to get. And so like once you work your way to a certain point in the battle pass, you'll be able to like unlock her as like a character. So that's kind of the thing. Another thing, there's housing in this game.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yep.
Calm down, Wayfinder.
Again, this is definitely one of those ones where you could feel like the 1.0 NIS early access of it, because like, you know, it's not like a full-on house, it's more like an apartment room, and you can just like put like these kind of little things in it. Like you can put like here's just like a chair. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. There's like chairs. There will be like pets and stuff in the game too, and like at the moment the pets all like you can unlock them, but they'll just be like kind of like static in your house. But eventually, you know, deeper down the road, you will be able to have them accompany you to do stuff. There's stuff like this, like, you know, here's a part of Venomous's skin, or it looks like it's like arms, that like different set of arms you can kind of put on her for a different look. Here's like a let's see. Oh, not that. That's like a trinket thing. Here's a sick emote, Gramps dance. So you go. You can get that sick dance. You can get some sick dance moves.
Great.
So, you know,
teach me how to Dougie Wayfinder.
That's what you need. I need a gritty emote in this.
Yeah, where the gritty at?
I need it as soon as possible. Shop. Let's just check out the shop. Here's again some skins. Like here's like again like the persona element. So here's just like a full like change of Venomous. I think looks pretty. Actually, I think that's kind of cool. It's just like her like. She's like a poison robot looking thing.
I like the little poison canisters. Let's go to the exchange rate first. I want to know what I'm actually looking at.
Yeah. So rune silver is like the name of the currency. The 1100.
Okay.
It's about $10.
That was better than I thought.
1100 is about $10. You know, here's weapons. A thing I will call out, because you can say there is a little bit of a grimy thing going here where they did the typical like this thing is 1150 to unlock this weapon, and you can get the 1100. They have come out and already said though that they are going to be changing that so those weapons match the currency, and if you have already bought something, they will like refund you those currencies. So they are going back on that, which is nice to see already. Yeah, they already said that. Here's the Wayfinders again. You can just buy them outright. The starting ones, which when you start and you do the tutorial, you get to choose from either Wingrave, Silo, or Nis. You can see they're a little cheaper. But then when you have the other two, Kairos and Senja are your other two characters that are also available.
$20.
They're about $20. Yep. To get them, or you know, again, like you know, as Warframe, there you can go craft them. The game is in early access again, so they're doing stuff. So like how they have set it up is you do have to buy into the game currently to get into early access, and you do get like the cheapest one is $20. So you have to spend the $20 to get in the game. That will get you like the battle pass out the gate immediately, and I think a little bit of the currency. And then there's like higher tiers for that. So I did the middle tier, like or one of the like I did like the second up tier from that, which is about $50. That got me some extra currency. It got me a Wayfinder token, which lets me kind of instantly get one of these characters if I wanted to. They said these Wayfinder tokens, which will only be in these early access packs, will just be around. So like if I wanted to, like 4 seasons from now, a character comes out, I can just use one of those tokens on them if I wanted to.
That's good.
So there is higher tiers though, which I will call out, I guess. The highest tier, which I'll go to, Exalted pack, is it's discounted now because I bought the $50 version, so it's only $100, but it's the highest if you just buy it outright is $150. Yeah, so pretty pricey, but you can see there's like a ton of crap you get for it. You get 4,200 rune silver, so you can essentially buy like 1 or 2 characters. You also get like I think like 3 of the tokens. And then a big thing with it is they are doing another thing that, again, Warframe has done, where they have heroic characters.
What?
And basically you can see Heroic Kairos is the character in this, and basically he is a slightly better version of the base Kairos out the gate. So he'll start, like he'll basically be a character that has like a head start on his progression and his abilities, but ultimately if you level up, let's say you level up a normal Kairos and like do some of the other like awakening things that like you can do, like to like kind of prestige a character or whatever, they will be on similar playing grounds. It's how the developers have described it. Warframe does this exact thing, so again, it's a big thing that like Warframe also does, where they have like, I think they're like prime frames or something weird like that. They've said this is again just for the Founders Pack because they wanted to give something to people who are like willing to spend this amount of money on like this game that just launched in early access and is still like an entirely new game. So they thought they wanted to do this. They said there will be more heroic characters in the future of the game, but those will be earnable and like purchasable in game for like whatever, and they won't just be like heroic Kairos that you can only get from this pack, and it will only be available through this early access period. So, you know, again, a little bit of they're going in on that stuff, but this game will be a free to play game, so like I think you expect a little bit of that to an extent, right? So
thank your local whale for keeping the video game industry running in the background.
yeah, seriously, because trust me, I've definitely seen a handful of those guys running around, the heroic Kairos guys running around in this, like, this is Skylight. This is kind of like your social.
Oh, I was gonna say, if this is any bigger, this is neat.
Yeah, this city is really cool.
Neon.
Yeah, the neon, like, it kind of has that like kind of like tech but medieval kind of thing. So here's a couple of the
arcane.
Yeah, here's a couple of vendors. You can see there's like here's more of the accessories. So here's where you can just outright craft some of them. And you can see like there are ones that are like tied to like your character level, and there's even set bonuses, which I haven't even gotten into that kind of stuff yet either. So there's a bunch of stuff there. Here's Arsenal. She's the weapon lady. So you can see here's weapon crafting. So you can see there's kind of like your main weapon, and then you kind of work towards these pieces that then fuse into the weapon. So I did that essentially for this Radiant Dawn. So I got the spirit and the form, and the shell. And you can see there's different currencies tied to these. But if you can hit triangle here and go view ingredients, and it'll just tell you like where to go get it. So here's like the Halcyon Orb. It comes from the orbital event in the ruins, which is like one of the lost zones. And then this Arcane Prisma is from the Archon Commander, which is one of the boss hunts. So that's just like a drop that can come from that boss. So it's basically just like, all right, go fight that boss a bunch, get enough of those to do that. That boss also drops the essence. You can see here's this kind of the main things. So once you have all these main things, you can then go ahead and craft this unique weapon. So there's that. As you can see, there's tons of different weapons. You can see here's like a big two-handed sword that has its own unique abilities. There's a scythe.
The scythes.
There's
my
dual
question,
daggers.
I guess, is like, do you feel like you would have? I guess it's hard to tell right now because nothing's maxed out. But like, do you think you're gonna like hold on to these weapons forever and like use them for different things and different runs and things like that?
Yeah, that's definitely a big question. Like, I don't know if that'll be it yet. It really depends on like how the weapons kind of feel how different they are. Like some of the ones I've seen seem cool because like again, I didn't really show off this Radiant Dawn ability, but basically it makes my my sword and shield like grow into like big light blade that like makes it bigger and also do more damage, and it makes my shield better at like blocking when it's in that form. There's that other one which is like a chainsaw sword. Its ability makes it like you basically like charge up your meter, and you get the shredder toss, which literally just like you throw the shield like Captain America style and like ping pongs between a bunch of enemies and stuff. So like they do have like those different skills tied to them, which is cool. There is like these 4 base versions of these weapons. So if you just want to like try out how daggers feel or like how guns feel, you can just like buy this one and just see it, because they do have like completely different like move sets and like play styles to those when you have those different weapons, of course. So like you can at least get the feeling, go, okay, I like this, let's see what the skills can do to like modify that more.
Do certain characters have like an affinity for weapons, or is it?
Yeah. So I would say like, while like that's one thing I would say I hope they kind of work on more, and it seems like there's potential for that with some other things they talk about the roadmap, but like they do pitch that like, hey, like if I wanted to, I could just go buy a gun with Windgrave and start using a gun as Windgrave, but you can see the 4 core abilities he has are very like kind of melee focused. So like he has definitely a better affinity towards like using a sword and shield or like a big two-handed weapon. And the same is like for some of like the gun characters too, where it's like, or I should say like, I think of like Nis, who she is like a dual daggers, like kind of sneaky assassin character. So she's like getting in quick, doing a bunch of damage and getting out, because she's like, she's like more of a glass cannon, doesn't have a lot of health. So like using her with like a big two-handed sword could probably work, but like also like isn't fully, probably isn't like the most quote unquote optimal. compared to other things. But there's some things you can make work and maybe not make work in that stuff. So I think that I'm hoping that's kind of the stuff they definitely work on to like build out more. There is like some of the things they kind of called out in the roadmap. So I don't want to just sit here and ramble, because let's actually go show. There's like one thing that I would say is like more akin to a Destiny is there is like kind of like an open zone area that you can go run around. It's a pretty big area that's here. There is apparently like a second one too that I haven't gotten to yet, but it's much. I heard it's like kind of much smaller compared to the zone I'm about to go into. I like the music in this area. I will say the music in this game is not too bad. I've been enjoying it. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, some of the stuff they have in the roadmap is like, they talk about like more like, not singularly like character progression, but more like account level progression. So like it's stuff that's gonna be like, oh, it would behoove you to like try and play multiple Wayfinders, to like, level them up, and like doing this stuff will like improve Wayfinders in this kind of archetype across the board. So like there is already a little bit of that where like, Wingrave and Senja are like, I guess you could say like the more like tankier characters in the class. And I think there is like a thing they fall under that like, once the system is the game, you can kind of level that overall, and it will increase both of them like at once, rather than like having to level them individually kind of thing. And that'll apply to like the other ones as well. And then there's also a similar thing to that with weapons, I believe, as well, where it'll be like, hey, having a bunch of different swords and shields will overall power up all these different swords and shields, and also unlock additional skills that you could use with these weapons besides kind of the core things you have. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is like more variety stuff in that thing, because at the moment like I have these 4 Wingrave abilities and I'm upgrading them, and like I already see kind of the rotations I want to do with some of these abilities, and like kind of like some of the little more nuances which are there, but it is still just like I have these abilities and that's the abilities I'm going to use. And it'll be nice to see like have those mix up, so you can kind of have like, oh, I have my Wingrave Radiant Dawn build that has this stuff, right, and like kind of have it more be differentiated from like a Wingrave that has a sword and shield, or like a big two-handed sword, and how I can do that. Because like they will play differently as they are now, but like ultimately like the build is like just kind of more allotting stats into like certain stats to benefit that stuff, rather than like mixing up skills or other things that could benefit that stuff.
Do you know what the level cap is?
The cap is 30 for characters right now.
This is cool. I didn't think there would be anything like this. I really thought it was just like that little hub area
and the dungeons over and over again. Yeah. I will say like because the game kind of throws you into this area like pretty quickly, because I will say like that main area you can access all the things from, but if you wanted to, I can, like you can see, I'll just go to the map here. It's a pretty big area. You can see like this is like if I go over here to the Undercroft, there's like a big portal again like that, and it'll specifically take me to that like lost zone. So like the main quest is kind of like traversing this area and kind of unlocking these zones. Like there is some story going on, but it's like I admittedly will say like it's not been driving me super hard yet. It's not like bad, but it's also like I think also some of it is just like it is just like some text boxes and talking to a character. Like I'll run in here and find like a character I can maybe talk to.
And there's so much. It feels like I understand how the story could feel like a backseat.
Yes, yeah, like. I think that'll be something that's maybe more fleshed out once they kind of get the game in a better spot. So yeah, I talked to him earlier, and there was I had like some quests for him, and I did a quest for him, that monk guy, and like did have like a little like scene where it was more like an illustrated like vignette scene rather than like a full on like fully rendered cutscene. Like there's not really been like that kind of stuff in here. It's just been more like that kind of stuff, and like the story premise is like. The gloom came and like it devastated this kind of world, and the gloom itself is like distorts and like literally like destroys reality itself is kind of how they position it, and basically like your characters that you were were kind of the defenders, or I think they called them something before
Wayfinders?
no, it was different than Wayfinders because Wayfinders are the characters brought back to life,
Oh boy.
but because
I've heard this one before.
because they died in this event and were basically taken and absorbed into the gloom, and now kind of the whole setup is like the humans and the people that were left over have like started figuring out how to manipulate the gloom in a way that lets them kind of control it and in hopes that they can like kind of restore the world back into a state. And in doing so, they figured out how to bring back these kind of heroes that were a part of this big fight to kind of fight back the gloom and try and save everybody as Wayfinders. And so Wayfinders technically are like manifestations of these heroes in gloom form, and that's also how they try and get around. Have like the story in world reasoning for why there's like 20 Wingraves running around in the streets or whatever. That's
10 Genjis hanging out.
Yes. So that's kind of like the initial setup, and then so far it's just been like, hey, we're going to these areas, and kind of like seeing these moments of like, hey, what happened since that event, and how people are trying to survive in the world and like fight back and stuff. And like that whole thing with like that monk guy was that like he was a part of this like force of people that were actually like part of this holy like protection group, but actually they were kind of bad the whole time, and he didn't like that, so he left, and now he's a monk trying to undo his wrongs. And like, that's like the thing that's like the most interesting thing, like lore wise, I've seen so far is like this Undercroft, and one of the bosses you fight is the Archon Commander. That's like the dude I fought the most, and that's how I got this like sword and shield. Is like the whole thing is like those like ghostly yellow after image people are like re-image, like are like leftover memories of like people like fighting their last fight against the gloom in that moment. So like that's why you're like fighting them, because like they are like fighting back against the gloom or whatever, and like that's all that's left of them is this weird after image of them like trying to fight in their last moments or whatever. So like weird stuff like that, that like has like cool premise, I guess, but yeah, it's just been it's conveyed pretty simply to you, and just like a lot of text and like character portraits.
Presentation is so hard, I feel like, in these kinds of games.
Yeah.
It's like always the struggle.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, in a similar way, like I'm running through this open world area, like as you get deeper in, you can see like enemies get more challenging. Like this guy is like straight up a skull. And yeah, he can hit.
He's got a lot of health.
Yeah, and he's like a named dude too. I've seen a couple of like these guys that can show up where they like are actually like named and like will like do different stuff. But yeah, there's like tons of stuff that can pop off in this open world area as well. You can see there's just like a bunch of little like currency collectible things I can get. And yeah, people can just show up like here's like a person. He's playing as Venomous there.
They're doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, she seems pretty good with, because she has like a bunch of like poison stacking damage over time, like stacking stuff. So like she seems like she can be pretty potent. I definitely will get to a point. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I will say, like there's a lot going on in Lessons, but I will say, like overall, I have been enjoying this game quite a bit. Just like it's definitely grindy, and I think some of that is you can attribute to like it is early access, and there's only so much content in the game. So I definitely feel like I will hit a point where it's like, okay, I've had my fill for now, and I'll wait to see what some updates come from early access beats, and then obviously the full release. But I do want to at least get to a point where I have like some other characters and stuff. I wanted to come over here because one thing I have seen over here when I was super low level was a fucking world boss spawns here.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
And it was just like this big like fire golem looking thing. It was pretty crazy looking, and like it literally just engulfs. You can see you can see kind of the remains of it. It's like it just like has like a big fire dome that appears here. He's just chilling inside, and I just like randomly walked over here and just stumbled into it and just got like immediately one shot.
Excellent.
I was like level like 5 or 10 or whatever, so like it wasn't much, but that's a whole thing that can happen. There's like other stuff too. There's like these little like I would attribute them more like a Destiny public event where it's like a little like dome appears, like there's like a big crystal in the center, and you fight a bunch of enemies in it, but you can also destroy that crystal, and it spawns like a boss that you can fight, and that'll have its own little drops to it. There's also
like split paths.
Oh, yep, yeah, there it is. There's one right there, actually. I'll go check it out. There's also gloom tears, which are like straight up portals that'll like take you into like a little mini dungeon that like has like a boss in and of itself. That'll like spawn randomly in the area. So here it is, Sphere of Influence. So you can see these guys are like, gloomified. And then when you hit them, they will kind of do like a little AoE damage. That's also like one of the imbuements you can put on an actual dungeon too.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bombs that were coming out of the treasure chest and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna smack up this crystal a bunch. You can see it's like
Dark Star becomes vulnerable.
Yeah, you can see it kind of gets crystallized over time. Yeah, and these guys are like lowish level, so I'm just kind of cruising through some of this stuff. That's what I'll say is like this open world area, you can just kind of like once you hit a certain level, you can kind of cruise through it. They do for like dungeons and stuff, kind of like put you at like a hey, your active power for this is like this at this moment to like not kind of have
set you at a cap. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not you're just like super over leveled. Yeah.
Check out these cool turtle guys.
Yeah, this turtle dude's just kind of showing up. I'm not sure too much what he's doing, but he's just hanging out.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's me.
I think there's 2 of them.
Oh yeah, there's 2 of them. Oh yeah, now they want to fight too. I was like, there's like a couple of them around here. Yeah, that one wants to fight now. I guess I got too close to him.
Don't forget to pop bubble.
Yeah, here I'll do my here's my like glowy sword ability, where it just does a lot more. I do a lot more damage.
It's bigger, yeah.
Bigger. My shield. My shield blocks more damage. Can you see I have like a stamina meter as well?
Yeah.
So that kind of helps that take less hits when I'm kind of blocking stuff.
This looks like that thing from Metroid Prime 3.
Yeah.
Leviathan. I like these gloom guys. They look cool.
Yeah. Again, definitely a thing for me is like just I think the game just looks cool. Like it has like I like the again that you can see that Darksiders kind of influence. Like it
sure
has a good visual. I like the visuals of some areas in this game.
Kind of has like a Torchlight vibe too.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of those influences too. All right. Come here.
Beating the hell out of this rock.
Yeah. Alright. There we go. Got it. The prophecy has arrived. Now we get to fight a servitor. Oh, and somebody showed up. Yeah, I'll throw my bubble shield down so we can just fuck this dude up.
Hell yeah.
Damage up. See, it also buffs allies too, which I think is cool when I pop that. Yeah. Again, plays into that kind of. He's kind of like he's like a tank, but also kind of a support at the same time.
Paladin.
Yeah, paladin, 100%. So that's been fun. So there you go. Did that. Got a bunch of random stuff. So that's good. Let's see if I can see a gloom tear at all around here, but probably not. Those are a little bit rare from what I've seen. There's like a big turtle over there. People will probably mess me up though. They kind of whenever I've seen like a bigger enemy, it's like I go over and they usually
just one shot you.
Just clap me at the moment, even at 20 or whatever. Let's see is there anything going on in this cave?
There's a portal to somewhere.
Yeah, there's a portal that goes to the Bloodworks, which is another like kind of randomized zone that we could go do. But there's a bunch of stuff going on, and yeah, there's like a main quest I still need to kind of go do. I don't know if it's any of what do I have? Oh, the Argent Hunt, which would be another like boss hunt, is kind of the main quest I'm on now. But I think overall though, they aren't super long, but it'll still take a little while to like go fight a boss at my current level. So I don't know if I want to jump into that too deep. See if we can see any kind of gloom tears briefly, but if not, check out cool area.
Yeah, at least you get to see the world a little bit.
Yeah, it's a cool area to like run around, and there's
I like the colors here.
Stuff to grind. Yeah, cool like kind of.
Yeah, very Darksiders.
Yeah, ancient kind of like our dilapidated ruins or whatever. And this is like this is like I think one of the zones I've not unlocked yet. There's a big portal back here. I don't think I've unlocked that one yet.
I assume there's like diamond things for fast travel points.
Yeah. These are they're just you can fast travel. I can just pull up the map too and just kind of jump to one.
Okay.
And I can also go back to town and all that stuff. So yeah, just fast travel stuff. But yeah, this is generally I think this is an overall good look at Wayfinder. Yeah, I like what's here so far. I think there's still like a lot of stuff they can kind of figure out. Like I think again like finding ways to have the characters be a little bit more freeform with weapon abilities would be something I would like to see. Just like some general like quality of life things, because like there is some. Even for me, I wouldn't say I'm like super have like visual impairments by any means. Like I wear glasses, but I would say like some of the text in here would be nice to have like a little bit more scaling on the text would be nice for me at least, and I'm sure some other people. Just stuff like that. That's kind of basic stuff I think would be cool. And then again, I think ultimately it's just kind of figuring out the content. They definitely have some cool like interesting things that are planned that sound interesting, because again like I said there's like a very basic form of housing that they talked about, but like even they said later in early access they plan on doing neighborhoods, which is more of like a proper housing thing where like you and a set of friends or like a guild crew, which there also will be. Can like have your own little neighborhood and like set up your houses and stuff, and there will also be like quests and things that you can get for like being a part of that like neighborhood guild or whatever that you can like all attribute to, which that's a cool idea. Again, similar with the housing, there are things that you can get from certain bosses and activities called like artifacts and trophies, and you can put those in your house, and those can like can actually like modify things in the game, like give you like certain currencies for each day when you activate them, or like improve chances of drop rates and stuff like that for certain things can like also be in that. Like they just had like tons of interesting ideas in here for that stuff. So I think even with the shaky launch, it seems like the game is like there's already people who are like super into it in that Discord, for better or worse, because there can be some people who are don't
too into it,
too into it, like definitely have been going pretty hard on the game already, like maxing out a bunch of characters and like finding exploits to do that as well, and they already have patched out some exploits, and people then getting pissy about them doing that. Typical live service MMOE type stuff is already happening within like the first 2 weeks of the game. So I think the game definitely has a shot, even in this world of like there's like 8 gabillion video games coming out right now.
They have a plan. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, they have a plan. They have the back again. This game is being published by Digital Extremes, which the Warframe people who've been making Warframe for 10 years. So I think they know how to like do this thing to an extent already. So like getting them to kind of back them to an extent like is already like I think a good sign as well. And also doing like doing like a lot of like it will be a free to play game, so it'll definitely be free to play purchasing and spending of money to like get stuff in this game for sure. But like hearing them like being able to be like, yeah, we'll go back on this kind of little grimy thing to like in the cash shop already. They said for all the server issues they're gonna give like some I'm blanking on the word, but just they're gonna give back because they had so many issues with that server launch, and people who are willing to because obviously you have to spend money to get into the game now,
Yeah.
as it is. So like that, I think that's fair to give compensation. That was the word I was thinking of. But yeah, I definitely, I think I will do some, like a follow-up thing to this at some point once I'm deeper in, because again, even here, there is more stuff. Like I said, there is a second area to get to with different things. The imbuement things I was showing off, there's like a guy, we just showed off the one, but there's different ones. So like, the one I did is like a bombs. There's another one called greed, which makes like piles of money all over the dungeon, and for every one you pick up, you take more damage. So that's like an interesting one. There's like a fire one that like every so often your screen will like get like a fiery effect on it, and if enemies are hitting you during that, you can like take like additional burn damage on top of the damage. So it's actually pretty brutal. So there's stuff like that, and then on top of that, once I get in the further and the deeper into the main quest, I've heard that you unlock the ability to put 2 imbuements on things. So you can put multiple imbuements that'll do different effects. If you layer ones on top of those, they'll have like even stronger effects, where like I saw the fire one makes like big fire tornadoes like spawn in like a boss arena or other places. There's also like, again, like going into, like I said, like I used the trickster one, which made the bombs, and that trickster guy showed up. Like when you put one of those on, he has an increased chance to show up. He could show up in any randomized dungeon in that particular dungeon I did, but putting that on gives him like an increased chance to do that. And there's even more stuff like that, where like there are like unique and entire like unique bosses you'll never see unless you do like this pairing of imbuements, and that boss will have that like hidden boss will have a chance to spawn, and you can fight them.
Cool.
So there's like stuff like that. So like tons of cool ideas and like things already here, and like there's just a lot of stuff that I think they can build upon already. So I'm feeling good about this game. I'm hoping it has it can right the ship from its shaky launch and get more people back into it and check it out, because I think it is worth checking out even here. But it's, again, it's early access, so there will be more updates and things that'll come. But yeah, Wayfinder.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Wayfinder.
Thanks, Auri, for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thanks for showing off, Mike.
Thanks everybody. Yeah, for listening to my Wayfinder ramblings here. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.